Good day, my YouTube friends out there in YouTube land. This is Guru Too Cool coming to you live at the People's Connection. Today, I bring to you yet another video, and today's video is going to be about our president, President Barack Obama. He's done something here recently that just kind of irked me the wrong way, and I'm going to share that with you. This happened on March 30th, last Wednesday, and here's what he did. Okay, in The Advocate, it's reported that President Obama commutes 50-year sentence for leader of historic Baton Rouge cocaine distribution ring. By the way, we're talking about the gentleman that President Obama is hand gesturing to. His name is John E. and his nickname is Boo Milton III. He was sentenced to 50 years, and after serving 19 years, President Obama decided to commute his sentence, and we'll go into that in a minute. It's totally disgusting, though. Okay, so getting into the story, it says President Barack Obama on Wednesday commuted the 50-year federal prison sentence of a Baton Rouge man accused of being the ringleader of one of the city's largest crack cocaine distribution rings. John E. Boo Milton III, 50, will be released on July 28th under the president's order. He has served 19 years of that sentence and is being held at a federal prison in Alabama. A federal probation officer had estimated that Milton was responsible for bringing 210 pounds of powder and crack cocaine to Baton Rouge from 1992 to 1996, but the judge who sentenced Milton in 1997 said the actual amount surely topped that estimate, meaning that Mr. Milton here infiltrated more than 210 pounds of powder and crack cocaine into our communities. He goes, this quote goes to say, I thought at the time the sentence was way, way too harsh, unquote, lawyer Michelle Fournier, who represented Milton, said Wednesday, quote, we are finally realizing that we can't arrest and jail our way out of the drug problem in America. I'm very proud of our president, unquote. So let's break this down. We'll try that one more time. His lawyer, this guy, this scumbag's lawyer, scum of the earth, his lawyer, Michelle Fournier, says that it's about time that we don't jail our people for drugs in America. Excuse me, lawyer, I just want to say that we're talking about the ringleader here. That statement of yours, you trying to pull a fast one over people's eyes, that statement of yours belongs to people who are incarcerated for small amounts of drugs. Like, let's say, the majority of black men and brown men who are Mexican, who you guys have incarcerated for drugs. That statement belongs to those type of people, not to the ringleaders. He should have served every bit of his 50-year sentence. I'm gonna get back to that. Now check how white supremacy and racism works in this country. Okay, it says former U.S. Attorney L.J. Hymel in an email response says, quote, as U.S. Attorney, my obligation under the law was to prosecute persons who violated federal laws in a fair and impartial manner. That's what our office did in this case. It was the judge's duty to impose sentence, and that is what he did. Likewise, the president has the authority to pardon under our law. This is what the separation of powers under our Constitution is all about. Our system has worked for nearly 250 years. I am not one to criticize it, unquote. Now, again, this is what white supremacy is about. They justify the decisions that they make even when they're not right. Okay, it goes on to say Milton's term was one of 61 drug offenders sentences that Obama commuted on Wednesday. A New Orleans man, Kevin County, and Roy Lee DeBose of Shreveport also received commutations. Both were serving 20-year prison terms. County for heroin and cocaine distribution, and he boasts for cocaine distribution. Do you hear this? These are the ringleaders, and they commuted their sentence. President Obama, I am so ashamed of you. You know they did this to black communities across America. They killed so many of our family and friends and relatives, and you commuted these guys' sentences. How about letting out the black and brown majority of people you guys have locked up in these cages in the prison systems? How about letting them out and then giving them a fair shake at life, like giving them jobs? Okay, so anyways, I'm sorry to get off point, but let's continue on. Now check this part. The presidential power to grant commutations and pardons, quote, embodies the basic belief in our democracy that people deserve a second chance after having made a mistake in their lives that led to a conviction under our laws, unquote, the president said in a letter to the inmates receiving commutations. Now, ain't that something? You sure don't do that to black men and brown men in America. You guys judge them very harshly once they've been in jail or in prison. So this is just hogwash. It's a lie to let out these drug dealers and these suppliers back onto the streets. What? To put some other drug into our communities? Black people, at this point, I'm talking to you, black men and women. You need to be smarter than this. They do this all the time. Put out drugs out there, and then they teach you how to cook it up or teach you how to prepare it on one of their news stations, and then you guys go out and hook, line, and sinker fall victims to this trap. It's racism. It's white supremacy, and you are supporting it by doing stupid things that they're putting out there for you to do. Okay, let me get back on point. It goes on to say Milton pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess and distribute powder cocaine and crack cocaine in a deal with prosecutors in exchange for his cooperation. Witnesses at Milton's 1997 sentencing hearing recounted how he lived in a posh Houston hotel and brazenly sent cocaine shipments back to Baton Rouge, even after his March 96 indictment here. A convicted drug dealer testified Milton drove a Porsche and bought a BMW and diamond-studded gold jewelry with cash. And this is who President Obama commuted his sentence after 19 years. Shameful. Now check this part. The late U.S. District Judge Frank Polozola, who sentenced Milton, called the amount of drugs in the case, quote, astonishing. So, you know, they let him off with 210 pounds, but you know it was far greater than that. Far, far greater. And this is what they put into our communities, people. People, as you go down this article, you start to read about how his sister started a petition on change.org to have her brother's sentence lessened. In that petition, she said her brother had children after graduating from high school and was later introduced to drugs as, quote, as a way out, unquote, of his financial difficulties. Do you hear how she's coming up with excuses for her brother's behavior, killing so many in thousands in the black and brown communities? Shameful on this sister. And check out her plea. She says, while in prison, Williams said, his sister, Milton has worked with inmates who have little or no education to help them obtain basic reading and writing skills. Milton also obtained degrees in Christian education and Christian counseling, she said, and the prison chaplain allowed him to serve as a prison facility minister. Quote, he wants to put his education and personal life struggles to use and help keep young men and women out of the justice system while helping them to find a better way of life. His sister said in the petition. Can you believe this? More like he can't wait to put more drugs into the hands and into the lives of black and brown people is more like it. You guys are using smoke screens here. It's so pathetic. So check this. Some 18 people associated with the drug organization were convicted of drug trafficking crimes. 15 of them pleaded guilty and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. One of Milton's partners, Ernest Robertson of Baton Rouge, received 2 life sentences after he refused to sign a plea agreement with prosecutors, then fought the charges at trial and lost. See, that's what happens when you buck against the system. They fight against you and they charge you guilty. Some of the cocaine shipped from Houston was carried by female couriers who drove behind decoy cars sent to distract police, according to the testimony of one of the defendants. The traffickers sometimes packed the cocaine in plastic wrap, surrounded by layers of peanut butter and fabric softener, in an effort to keep drug dogs from smelling the cocaine of the traffickers if they were stopped by law enforcement, prosecutors said. Now, do you hear this? This is what Obama did. President Obama, you know what these drug traffickers and ringleaders have done to the black and brown communities, and you are letting them onto the streets. I'm so ashamed of you. I'm so disgusted. People, my YouTube friends, please comment, leave a thumbs up, share this video, like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. This is Guru Too Cool. Okay, YouTube friends, but before I leave this video, I just want you to know that I'm just not talking out the side of my neck. I've been reading this book by Gary Webb. It's called Dark Alliance. If you see on the front of the cover, it says the CIA, the Contras, and the crack cocaine explosion. This book hits home to what Obama just done, what he just did rather, with these drug traffickers and drug dealers, letting them free. I'm just amazed by this. First of all, Gary Webb, he was an editor for the San Jose Mercury News. He exposed that the CIA had brought cocaine and crack into the black and the Latin and brown communities and basically tore us up, our family structures and everything. This is a serious situation, and it's all behind racism, and they were bent out to destroy us. And you know that's what they did to a lot of us. And here it comes President Obama commuting these type of people's sentences. Anyways, you really need to read about Gary Webb. Basically, he committed suicide. They made his life a living hell, of course. And they said that he committed suicide. Who knows? For all we know, they could have just killed him. But on record, it is that he committed suicide. They have a movie behind this particular case as well. It's a riveting book. I've been enjoying it, and it's something that I would ask every brother and sister to check out if you really want to know how they had destroyed our communities and what they've done to us, just so we don't relive this and have it happen again. Remember, black people, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And we fell for this cheap coke. Excuse my language. And the sad part about it is, in the beginning of this book, I'm learning that this study was already done in Bolivia and Peru. They saw what this crack cocaine had done to the communities by destroying them. They saw it way back in, 74, I believe. Anyways, they saw this, they knew exactly what was going to happen, and then they brought it here to America and put it on us. This book reveals a lot of that. If you don't believe me, you don't have to believe me. Check out the book yourself. Yes, Gary Webb, Dark Alliance. President Obama, I'm really disappointed in what you've done. You need to rethink this. If you haven't let them go yet, you need to rethink that. How you going to let some ringleaders out? The drug traffickers. Yes, how you going to do that? This is not cool. I'm disappointed. Before I leave, I just want to go over one more part again, one more time, just so you could catch this. It says that Milton's term was one of 61 drug offender sentences that Obama commuted Wednesday. A New Orleans man, Kevin County, and Roy Lee DeBose of Shreveport also received commutations. Both were serving 20 years prison terms. County for heroin and cocaine distribution, and DeBose for cocaine distribution. Now, I just want to say that I bet you those two are connected with Milton. That's how they got their computations also. I think it's really reckless that we're giving these type of people who distributed heroin and cocaine, and the other for cocaine distribution, that we're allowing these people to walk on our streets again. And you have hundreds of thousands of black and brown men incarcerated behind petty drug charges. It's pathetic. So pathetic. You want to control black men that hard that you come up with BS like this. It's disgusting. I'm just disappointed in President Obama right now. Peace. Exactly.